The LA Olympics will be here before you know. Just 2028 coming quickly.
Right there.
Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Thursday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Stephen Romo in for Savannah today.
We begin this morning with the Trump administration's escalating legal battles with the courts on multiple fronts over immigration deportations. A federal judge in Washington is now threatening the administration with contempt for what he's calling willful disregard of his order to halt those flights carrying immigrants to El Salvador back in March. Contempt proceedings could force some officials to testify under oath.
And this comes as another federal judge in Maryland is looking for information on any efforts by the administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who the Justice Department says was mistakenly deported. The Trump administration released records yesterday detailing how police officers in Maryland came to believe that Abrego Garcia was a member of the gang MS-13 during an arrest in 2019. His family denies he was a member of that violent gang, and he does not have a criminal record in the U.S. or in El Salvador. Attorney General Pam Bondi told reporters yesterday that Abrego Garcia will not be returning to the U.S.
He is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back. There was no situation ever where he was going to stay in this country. None.
We have NBC News legal analyst Danny Savallo standing by to help unpack this for us. But first, let's get to NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell and NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach, who join us now from Washington with the latest. Good morning to you all. Gary, after this pressure has mounted from the courts, the Justice Department released documents from 2019 with details about Abrego Garcia. This is all relating to claims that he was a member of MS-13. What have we learned from those documents?
Yes, Stephen, for weeks now, the Trump administration has been claiming without providing evidence that he is a member of MS-13. We now have some of the documents that makes them believe that is the case. And they all come from 2019 immigration proceedings where Abrego Garcia was arrested and by Prince George's County officials. And a gang task force member wrote that they believe he's a gang member because he was wearing a Chicago's Bulls hat and a hoodie with rolls of money covering the eyes, ears, and mouth of presidents on American currency. That's something the gang task force member said is a sign of affiliation with the MS-13 gang. Now, the documents also show back in 2019, he was arrested alongside members of MS-13. The White House has also called Abrego Garcia a foreign terrorist and a human smuggler. They have provided no evidence to show that is the case.
So, Kelly, Maryland's Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen, he actually traveled to El Salvador yesterday trying to get any information on Abrego Garcia's whereabouts. Tell us more about this visit.
Well, it was ultimately a frustrating visit for Senator Van Hollen. And, of course, Abrego Garcia has been living in Maryland. He has an American wife and American children who are residents of Maryland. And he went there hoping to be able to do a sort of wellness check. Could he see Abrego Garcia? Could he determine how he is being held? What is his current condition? Those kinds of things. And that was rebuffed. He talked about this with reporters during his visit.
I asked the vice president if Abrego Garcia has not committed a crime, why is El Salvador continuing to hold him in CCOT? And his answer was that the Trump administration is paying El Salvador, the government of El Salvador, to keep him at CCOT.
So Van Hollen was able to meet with the vice president of El Salvador, not with Abrego Garcia. And he also asked if he came back next week, would he be able to see Abrego Garcia and see what his state is at this point? And they could not provide any sort of assurance about that. Now, the White House has taken on Van Hollen and Democrats broadly for their support for this man and have been very aggressive in saying that this is the wrong side for Democrats to be on. They argue that the president has certainly a lot of public support to go after immigration issues very aggressively like this. Of course, there's a debate about what evidence, for what time period would he be detained in that prison, and many questions that continue. So Van Hollen is certainly trying to keep this in the news as a Maryland-based issue, while there are a lot of other issues of due process and certainly the larger issues of immigration.
And, Gary, more fallout from this debate. Two judges have now publicly opened the door for potential contempt proceedings for the Trump administration. What would happen next there?
So, yeah, two different cases here with two different judges. I'll start with the alien enemies case here in D.C. before Judge Boasberg. What has to happen there, the judge has decided the government either has to provide time before a judge for every single one of the Venezuelan members of TDA that were sent to that CCOP prison, or if the government doesn't want to do that, they have to provide the names of the people who made the decision not to turn around those planes after the judge told them to do so that March 15th. So that's the Alien Enemies Act case. Over in Maryland, in the Abrego Garcia case by Monday, the government has to provide answers to questions and has to provide names of people that they're going to have deposed in that case to find out answers to why they did not obey the judge's order.
And Kelly, we heard from the president this week that he's considering sending what he calls homegrown criminals to El Salvador's prison, something that's raising a ton of legal questions here. Any developments there?
Multiple occasions now. This would involve U.S. citizens who he described as having committed violent crimes being taken out of the country and housed in a prison like El Salvador. When he was with the Salvadoran president, he talked about him needing to build more prisons. Again, the U.S. is paying El Salvador for the incarceration of these migrants that we've been talking about. And the White House is saying that the counsel's office and the Department of Justice are looking into the legal issues. The president did also say it would have to be within the law. It's very hard to see how that would be within the law because the Constitution gives lots of protections to U.S. citizens to guard against this kind of situation. And yet the president is persisting in saying he thinks it could be a good idea and wants to pursue it. We've seen over time when the president repeatedly talks about issues that he thinks are important on a variety of issues, that the administration then tries to work toward looking for legal justifications or pathways to bear that out. So we'll see where this goes, but there are huge constitutional issues that are raised by even this suggestion.
All right, Kelly O'Donnell, Gary Grumbach, thank you both.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos, who's been helping break down so many of these legal issues for us this week. All right, so as we heard there, we've got now two judges threatening the Trump administration with the possibility of contempt proceedings if they don't comply. So if they don't comply, then what happens next?
Yeah, judges are now tiptoeing ever so daintily towards contempt. And I say that because I think that we would have been in contempt land long ago. But what I believe is happening, and understandably so, is that federal judges are really, really reluctant to hold the administration in criminal contempt. They really don't want to do that because the really complicated issue then becomes who exactly do you hold in contempt? Members of the executive branch have been held in contempt before, but it's been largely for defiance of congressional subpoenas. This situation may be a brand new one, and it is something that I do not envy any judge who has to hold an administration in contempt and decide who exactly should be held in contempt. Is it the attorney general? Is it a line prosecutor? Is it the president himself? That's where we're heading, and I suspect that if it weren't the administration, we would have been here days, if not weeks ago.
And we faced this before, potential criminal charges for a sitting president. Is that possible for these criminal contempt charges?
It is impossible to charge a sitting president. That is probably the clearest issue of immunity, even before the Supreme Court's immunity decision last year. While a president is in office, he simply cannot be prosecuted. Now, there are lots of open questions about what happens after somebody leaves office. And as we have seen, a president who leaves office is amenable to prosecution. But if he's exercising his core presidential powers, then probably not. In fact, even evidence of that exercise of core presidential powers is likely inadmissible. So what you might see is if a contempt order is issued, you might see the executive branch saying, hey, well, since we're within the executive branch, we're immune. You can't touch us. This will be a constitutional showdown. That's why federal judges, they may not admit it, they do not want to be the one to have to hold the administration in contempt.
Let's talk about another issue that's been making headlines, and that is some of the actions the Trump administration has been taking against law firms that it sees as unfriendly toward it. Now, some pushback. We've got a federal judge blocking this new executive order from the president yesterday that punished one prominent law firm. That firm had successfully sued the news, Fox News, for promoting those false claims of election fraud. You might remember a few years ago. The judge called the order a, quote, shocking abuse of power. Is there a precedent for punishing a law firm for winning a case? I mean, talk about where we're at right now with this legal issue.
So this is an issue I'm obviously biased on because as an attorney and having many colleagues and friends who are in these major law firms, I guess I have to say I feel a little protective of the legal profession. So forgive my bias. But this to me is playing out exactly as I predicted or thought it might, because when you attack law firms for their exercise of their First Amendment rights, and it is clear that advocacy to a court, litigating, arguing to a judge, is a form of protected First Amendment speech. In fact, is arguably in the highest tier of First Amendment protection. And if you target someone, and that someone including a law firm, for that speech, it stands to follow that that would be an unconstitutional infringement on First Amendment rights. Now, the government might likely argue, hey, well, if we're talking about canceling government contracts, we're the government, we can contract with whomever we like. That might be the hill they want to try and die on. But in this case, in these cases, it appears that the law is pretty plain here, that you cannot target law firms for their protected speech, and that includes litigating on behalf of clients.
All right, Danny Ceballos, thank you so much as always.
All right, to Wall Street now. It was more bad news for the U.S. stock market yesterday as worries about President Trump's trade war and the impact it could have on the global economy continues to worry investors.
All three major indices dipped on Wednesday, with chipmakers leading the sell-off. Stocks also pushed lower after the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell spoke. His comments were carefully worded but cautionary, warning tariffs could push inflation higher.
NBC News senior policy reporter Shannon Pettypiece joins us now with more. Shannon, good morning to you. So let's talk about Fed Chair Jerome Powell and someone whose words can move the markets on their own. He spoke yesterday about tariffs and market volatility, warning about inflation, higher costs for American consumers. Did he mention the Fed's interest rate strategy here?
Well, he basically indicated that the Fed is pretty much where a lot of businesses are right now. They're in wait and see mode. They're waiting to see how this policy around tariffs is going to play out. Because remember, it was just a week ago that there were these global tariffs in place, then they were paused. Now there's tariffs on, remaining on China. The president's still talking about tariffs on other items like electronics, pharmaceuticals. So there remains a lot of uncertainty. So Powell said from the Fed's point of view, they're going to sort of hold steady, hold where they are and not make any decisions. The big move they could make is cutting interest rates, which is something that the market was anticipating to see this year. So now there's a bit of question about whether we're going to continue to see those rate cuts. Here's a little bit more about what Chairman Powell had to say.
Tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. The inflationary effects could also be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully to prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
So talking there about how this will contribute in some form to inflation, we just don't know how much. And the other key thing he said was to expect, if these tariffs remain in place, unemployment to go up. As growth slows from higher prices and the impact of these tariffs, unemployment he anticipates will go higher.
Beyond Powell's comments, Shannon, just walk us through what we did see in the markets yesterday. I mean, why were chip makers like NVIDIA hit so hard?
I mean, I think it kind of speaks to this overall uncertainty that we continue to see. The day started off, this chip maker, NVIDIA, had been intending to be able to sell a certain type of chip to China, despite a lot of restrictions already in place. They thought they had a chip they could sell to China. Then the administration came out and said, no, you can't even sell that one to China. That is going to cost the company $5 billion. So then that started creating more uncertainty among what is ahead. And for chip makers, for semiconductor makers, sending shares of those companies down. Then there were those comments by Powell. So I think it just speaks to this continued back and forth on tariff policy from one day to the next. Companies don't know what's coming. And you're seeing that reflected in the markets.
And zooming out a bit on the tariff discussion, the Trump administration saying the tariffs are a way of bringing countries to the negotiating table here. So does the White House have anything to show for this strategy that may be working on that?
So they were touting a meeting they had yesterday with Japan, of course, one of the U.S.'s most important trading partners. I've been talking to some former officials who've worked on past trade negotiations of what to expect here in this condensed timeline. They said we're probably not going to be seeing some sort of big, wide sweeping new trade deals that overhaul or revamp the way we do trade with other countries. But there might be some little wins here and there. Maybe a country lowering tariff rates on certain goods or agreeing to buy a certain amount of U.S. products, sort of try and level the trade deficit there. But there's a lot the administration is trying to get done in a very short period of time. Trade deals can take months, if not years, involve dozens of people across agencies. So it's a real lofty task, but the administration is trying to show signs that they are moving forward and making progress here.
A lot of moving pieces. Shannon Pettypiece, we appreciate it.
Just one day after a CDC report found a dramatic increase in autism rates among children, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made controversial comments about the root cause of the developmental disability. Speaking at length, Kennedy suggested environmental exposure is to blame, but presented no proof. NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson has the details.
The nation's top health official, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., doubling down on his claim that there is an autism epidemic.
Year by year, there is a steady, relentless increase.
The Health and Human Services Secretary pointed to the CDC's own data, showing autism prevalence increased from 1 in 150 8-year-olds in 2000 to 1 in 31 in 2022. Then he offered his own theory for the rise without proof.
This is a preventable disease. We know it's an environmental exposure. It has to be. Genes do not cause epidemics.
Dr. Zach Warren, one of the authors of the CDC report, says there is no one answer, but the best science so far points to genetics.
We have data that a certain percentage of some types of autism can be clearly explained by genetic differences. We have other evidence suggesting that actually it's the complex interplay of environmental factors and all of those things that can influence brain development that we'll need to understand as well.
Is it a preventable disease?
I think it's really challenging to answer that question because autism isn't actually a single thing, right? Autism is a word that we use as a best attempt to capture a wide variety of wonderfully unique children with strengths, developmental vulnerabilities.
Kennedy painted a bleak picture for those with autism.
And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date.
Sam Branson has a PhD in physics and is an autism researcher. Both Sam and his 7-year-old son have autism.
We have, I think, vibrant futures. And to hear someone who's a government official, calling us an epidemic and, essentially labeling us as negative outcomes is quite harmful.
Secretary Kennedy says the government will study what he believes are potential factors, including food additives, mold, and pesticide. He says he will follow the science wherever it leads, and he hopes to have some answers starting in September. Back to you.
All right, Ann, thank you.
Well, time now for weather. And as Easter weekend approaches, millions are bracing for severe weather risks starting this morning.
Angie Lastman is here with the forecast. Angie, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning to you. We're rolling into, of course, a holiday weekend, and things are going to get quite busy from this point through the weekend. We've got already a winter alerts up for parts of the West. Notice the winter storm warnings, the winter weather advisories across the Rockies as snow has already started to fall for folks there. We've got some of these showers that we're expecting across parts of the Midwest. Kansas City waking up to some wet weather this morning. But this is just the beginning of it. We're really going to start to see things ramp up as the day goes on and into the next couple of days. Today, it's going to be the snow across Wyoming and specifically Colorado. We could see some pretty impressive snowfall rates, 1 to 2 inches per hour. But also notice some of these storms that are going to fire up, stretching from Nebraska to Iowa and to Missouri, and then eventually working their way a little farther to the north and east as the evening gets underway. Here's the area, though, in the afternoon hours that we're watching for potentially strong to even severe storms. Omaha, right in the bullseye of that enhanced risk, mainly looking for damaging hail, but of course the wind gusts and isolated tornadoes can't be ruled out. Looking ahead to your Friday, rounding out the work week with still some of that snow across parts of Colorado, specifically the Denver metro area, going to pick up some significant snowfall. And then we start to see that severe threat really stretch from Michigan all the way to Texas. So Oklahoma City, St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, all included in that hail, once again, that greatest threat. By Saturday, we're not done with this system just yet. Now we've got the severe storms from Missouri to Texas, but we've also got a flood threat that's going to be underway as well. Dallas into Little Rock and up into portions of St. Louis, Lexington, all could see the potential for some of those stronger storms as your Saturday gets going. And by Sunday, still dealing with this intense storm system, it's going to see some of those stronger storms develop across parts of the plains. That severe risk will really ramp up into the afternoon. Guys, this is going to be problematic, of course, for travel. We know people are going to be out and about, want to get their Easter egg hunts underway. This will be something they'll have to pay attention to.
An eye on the forecast.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks, Angie. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.